Greetings, everyone. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with another episode of Random Encounters, the show where I use random encounter tables like the kind you find in tabletop role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons, and I use them along with an electronic die roller and input from you in the live audience to randomly generate what we in the profession call a prompt, which is a who and a what situation, mash them together, and then I draw that cartoon. It's that simple. Also that complicated. But also that much fun. I do this because it's fun. I'm trying to get the word out. Teach people. Let people know the deep, dark secret that drawing is fun. And so in that, I encourage you to draw along with me. Now, you don't have to draw the same thing I do, though you're certainly welcome to. Draw anything you want. Draw something out of a book or game book that you're looking at. Draw your cat sitting on the table. Just draw circles and squares for the fun of it. You will find that once you get past the feeling self-conscious about it, once you stop worrying about, oh, this is going to be good. Let me tell you right now, if you haven't been drawing in a while, it won't be good to start with. But it'll be better next time. And you'll very quickly get to the point where you're just you're doing it for fun. You're enjoying it. It's fun. Hello, Becky. Love the fall cartoon art. Yeah, you know what? That one really amused me. I do. For those of you who don't know, at the start of each show, when we have the countdown and the thumbnail image for each show has a new cartoon. Each week I do one just for this purpose. It exists. It's shown to the public as a thumbnail for the show and as the intro, and then disappears forever. And I've done some ones that I really like. Which makes me sad that they've disappeared. And this week's one is one I like to. You know what? Since you brought that up, Becky, I'll bring it up here. Yes, so I did a similar thing in the winter into spring, where I had a dividing line. I had character, what's it called? Overland skiing in the snow, and a line up beyond the line was a beautiful beautiful green, warm spring day, and there were animals, raccoons and bunnies there going, "Come on, join us over here." So it came to me that with fall coming on, I probably could do the something of the opposite and put myself there, being dragged, kicking and screaming out of summer and into the fall. Funny stuff, huh? Yes, so that's what that is. But thank you very much for mentioning it. I like that. I like that drawing too. Hello, Michael in chat. Thank you for joining. So, having explained all that and done a little bonus sharing of the fall. What's the word? Man, my lips not working great today. Apparently, bonus sharing of the thumbnail intro picture. Let's get down to doing some drawing, because while I will be talking, that can go well even if I'm not talking well. Rented lips. No new pair, I'm just breaking them in. You need to stretch out a little. Alright, so over on my iPad, hey, in case you're wondering, because some people ask, I do all of this art and all of the art that I do professionally these days on an iPad Pro. Yeah, I've got it plugged in so I can't really hold it up very high. iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil and using the app Procreate. None of them are sponsors. There are no sponsors for this show, but people ask, so I thought I'd let you know. Those are the tools I use. So, let's come on over here and have a look. These are our random encounter tables for the week. Lots of good possibilities. But what's really going to happen? Well, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to open up the die roller, and we're going to roll a who and a what. So we're going to go three rolls as I always go. Once, twice, a third time. And 5 is our first who. And a once and twice and third time. 3. 3 is our first what. So we'll come back to the screen here. 5 is a mimic. And 3 is in the doghouse. Roll snake eyes. That looks too good. A Naga beauty queen? Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what the dice have to say about that. Also, if I re-roll the same number for if I roll another 5, I will come to you folks in the live chat room. Michael and Becky already know this, but those of you watching streaming may not. That's one of the benefits of coming and watching live, is that when I get conflicting information or I need input, I turn to you. You guys get to tell me what to draw, and then usually I draw it. Sometimes I just say no, but there are days when I'm feeling that way. Okay, I'm going to turn blue on as the color that I'm drawing with. Excuse me. I'm going to come over here and turn off our image, our encounter tables. Go to the sketch layer here on round 1, and we're going to draw a mimic in the doghouse. Now the question is the mimic in the doghouse, or is the mimic the doghouse? See, Michael's already there. I think the mimic is the doghouse. I think you're right, Michael. That's got to be the gag here. So we're gonna get a basic shape for a doghouse, and those of you who've seen Boy have seen this before will know that I start by breaking down simple shapes. Start with the simple shapes and go from there. So we're going to have a doghouse, but now come back and I think I want to blow that up so it's most of the frame. We're going to have some kind of I don't know whether the dog is going to be in it already, but I think the first thing we need to do is change that normal shaped opening for the doghouse into a big old maw with nasty teeth, maybe even a double row, and eyes down here. And that is going to be the mimic. The mimic is the doghouse. Now, I guess the question for me to figure out is what I want the dog to look like. So you know what, I'm going to zoom in very far so we get some more free space. And I'm going to see, do I want it to be like a little puppy who's terrified at this? We could come over here if I grab that puppy. You know what, I should do that on another layer anyway. But if I grab that puppy and move him down here, make him bigger, we could have the puppy sitting in front of the doghouse looking terrified. Maybe smaller right there. That's one option. Don't know why he doesn't like it. Yeah, we built it just for him. Another option could be, so let's, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut and paste that. Now, well, it doesn't seem like it did anything. It put it over here. We've got a new from selection layer. That's where that puppy now lives. No, it isn't. Why did that not happen? That's weird. Alright, we're going to delete that layer. I'm going to, in fact, go back a few steps. So the puppy is there. Oh, I know what happened. Alright, I'm going to now grab that. And now I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut and paste. And again, we do that. And our puppy is now on that other layer. So, and I'm also going to change the puppy's color, so it's easier to see. Ooh, these rules, you know what? This is turning into how to. I really just mean this to be, you know, fun drawing, but I'm spending a bunch of time giving lessons. I don't mind that. I'm happy to do that. But I don't know how many people are tuning in for that. All right, so now on its own layer, we're grabbing that puppy. Oops, don't do that. And we're going to move it down here so we can sit it in front of the thing. And it could go like that. That's one way we could do it. But we could also come over here on this layer. I could have a sorry, I have to change things, and I'm not explaining to you why because it would take too long. I could have a dog inside who's sleeping and the mimic is coming to life. Kind of like that one better. Although I guess I could do both. Here's how I could do both. I'm going to grab the puppy and I'm going to flip it horizontal. And I could bring the puppy over here. And he could be sitting here and staring wide-eyed. There we go! That's what we're going to do. And now I've got all the sketching done. I can go right into drawing. You see, this is another one of those tricks I've done now. I've done it on other drawings, but by making the house and the characters different colors, I can keep them all together and very easily see the difference between them as I'm drawing. So, here we go. We're going to come up the lines layer, and I'm going to always start, as I say, with something you are confident in. While you're drawing, you may have to erase lines, and every time you erase something you've already got down there, there's a potential that it will affect something else you've got down there. So you want to start with lines you're confident in so that you won't have to erase them. Because everything that comes afterwards is built on these lines. Now I'm going to have the pause over here. And on the other side, because he's sleeping. I don't know if you can hear that strange mechanical noise. Don't know what it is. Something outside, not within my view at the dog park. Something out there is making a strange mechanical noise. Very often I will have airplanes and helicopters fly over very low that I'm pretty sure you guys can hear. Not much I can do about that. But I don't know what this is. Okay, we've got a dog line there. And we're going to go with the big mouth first. In there, we've got rows of sharp, pointy teeth. Like that, and we're going to have a second row inside too, just for nastiness' sake. So I need to do those two down here too for that. Now, in order for it to read better, I'm making sure that those back teeth are thinner and more needle-like, just to help with the how easily this reads. Oh, I'd really like to know what's making that noise. I hope you can't hear it because it's a very annoying noise. It almost sounds like a little bit like a garbage disposal. More like I doubt it. I mean, it's not a giant garbage disposal. It sounds a little bit like a what you hear when a small single jet engine goes over, except it's not moving. Don't know. Let me know. Let me know if you can hear that. What it sounds like to you, if you can. Hello, Linnea. Mimic in the doghouse, indeed. Thank you, Becky. Becky is our lovely hostess for the evening. The Vanna White of Random Encounters. Go. It's looking pretty good. And we'll do the terrified puppy. Come on. And you know, the quicker you try and draw something, the more rushed you are, the more you'll make little mistakes. I wanted to put those circles on the collar, but it was small and I was drawing quickly, so I just kind of did that, and I wound up with something that was who knows what the heck it was. Got to make sure that it's legible. As I often say, you don't have to get things right. You just can't make them so wrong that no one can figure out what it is you're drawing. Maybe he'll be pointing. Hey, big guy, there's a thing over there. Like that. Alright, and now if let's see, I need to put some wood slats. Oh, I didn't do the eyes. Right up here. I'm going to give it kind of slit eyelids, slit pupils rather than round ones, just to make it look a little more evil. There we go. And we need to do the same thing here on the top to make some shingles. And basically, we've got our drawing done. put some hints of grass out here. See how that, I mean, you put, let me undo those. So without those, it's fine drawing of the mimic doghouse and the scared dog. Everything's fine, but it feels like it's floating out in space. But if all I do here is add in just a few little wisps of lines to hint that there's grass there, the whole thing suddenly feels like it takes up more space. Like you know where it is. Sometimes just the hint of a setting creates the background, and you're playing with your viewer's mind. Becky asks, "Do I get a pay raise for being the hostess?" Oh, absolutely yes. I'll double your pay. I got to be careful if I set that as the standard in the future. That may be problematic for me. But for right now, I'm definitely willing to double your pay, Becky. Do I want? So I give the puppy spots. Do I want to give spots on the dog? I guess I probably do. Okay, so let's turn off the sketches. Come back here and quickly add some color. That's what it's looking like. I think I probably need to add, where it's a couple of places I could stand to add a little more. One of them's, there's just not quite enough going on here with the puppy. Something weird's happening here with the front leg too. It's not looking, it's drawing attention to itself in a way I don't want it to. Okay, so we'll start with the doghouse. I think our dogs are mostly going to be white, so let's start with the doghouse. And I'm going to switch to my drawing brush, which is a brush that comes with the Procreate app called Gloaming. I like that because it's got a kind of markery, crayony texture. It's not fully opaque, and so I also want to switch to my color layer, so I can put it down there, and I get to do what I talk about every week: is drawing shape within shape, not just filling up the space. I'm finding the shape of the thing I'm drawing, and I'm loosely coloring to that. In this case, it's not a big difference because we've got wood slats. But if I give each of them their own fill in, as opposed to doing the whole thing one big flat color, just adds a little bit of a hint of shape and texture. Here, though, you want to do the eyes separate from the under part of the eyes. And each of these eyebrows separately, and then together to the top. And yellow eyes are always a good monstrosy thing to do. They don't have whites of the eyes, they've got yellow eyes with red pupils. That same red I'm going to use here for the gums. You might not have noticed, figured out exactly what I was doing when I was adding that in, but those are supposed to be its gums, and I can change to a different color and have that second row of teeth have different colored gums. Look at that. That's nasty looking. Also want a dirty yellow, brownish yellow, a little darker than that for the teeth. Don't want them to seem pure white. And then I'm going to have a faux black. Do this all the time where I grab a dark blue and bring it up very dark. And it functions, the eye then reads it as black. I'm going to use that same color, I think, with a little bit wider version of the brush to do the roof. And I don't want to get this individual shingles here. I don't want you to pay attention to that, so I'm just doing it flat. Oh, look, there's a helicopter to go along with the whatever it was, the thing that wasn't a garbage disposal. Tonight is a night of strange sounds in the neighborhood of the Stanplex. The only thing I still need is that the lips here. All right. And now we'll come to our puppies, and we'll give, I'm going to leave them mostly white. Mostly. They mostly come at night. Mostly. And what do I want? I want a blue collar. It's a working dog. He's got a blue collar. So I'm going to color both of these in fully and then erase out where I want the studs on the collars to be. Particularly with something that mixes, this is not an opaque brush. So if I put one color over another, you can still see through it a little. So dropping in a white wouldn't have done the job. Erasing the blue out does. It takes us right down to that that white in the background. I'm going to give him a pink nose instead of a brown nose. And then he said, we're going to grab a little bit of off-white. Now, talked about over on the teeth using that brownish yellow to make them look dingy white. I'm going to use a blue to make the dogs look like a clean white. There we go. Oop, I have that brush drawn up too high. And what else do I need? You know what? I need to add a little bit of shadow to the brown areas. Little bit of shading shadow. A little darker than that. Go just again to give that hint of depth and texture and three-dimensionality. And we've got ourselves now. Again, just to play on that whole white, that shading thing. Look at how the dog, because I didn't put any blue shading in that eye at all, it should look to you like the fur and the eyeball are two different colors. When we know that most of the white is the same on either side of that line, but your mind probably is reading that like they're two different colors, and that will become even more true if, say, I take another pale yellow and I put that. Oop, come on! I just picked the yellow, and I put that there. All I've done is add those, and now those really look like different colors. But of course, they're not. In reality, we know they're not. But fool the brain. All right. I like it. I like it. I think we're going to call that. Oh, you know what? No. One last little thing. The dog's alarmed, so we got to give some emergency danger color to his sweat bullets. And now I'll come back to my inking brush and my lines layer, and I'll stick a little stand in the corner, and that marks this as done. We have a mimic doghouse. Guess it could be. This isn't mimic in the doghouse. It's in the mimic doghouse. I don't think that I will ever have to redraw this. This is not one that is going to become a sticker. I don't see very many people wanting a sticker that looks like this. I'm realizing that I would like to just add a little bit of shading around where the mimic's parts are, because the rest of the doghouse is flat. It's supposed to be flat. It's just flat lumber. But here, I've changed it so that it's got shape. It's got eyes bulging out of it. So you just need a little bit of shading there. And I think that does the trick. Oop. Go. Doghouse and mimic. What if we turn the intensity down just a wee bit? Just a wee bit. 5%, 5%, so 5 or 8%. That's good. And now I'll stop futzing with it and call it done. Mimic, doghouse, drawing, done. We'll come back here and turn on round 2, get everything set. Turn on round 2, turn off round 1. And now those are our encounter tables. We're going to go back in a minute and pick our second drawing, but I'm going to pause for a little sip of my diet soda. And I'm going to look at what's going on in the chat room. Hello from Maryland. Hello, Kerry. Glad you could join us. I'm glad to see you doing well. Well enough to tune in, anyway. Hope you're doing even better than that. The eyes don't have enough contrast with the wood. Well, I see that now. That's hopefully my putting the shading in solved that problem. So you, good catch. I saw the same thing. Oh, okay, good. Let's go on and do a second drawing. I'm going to come over here and come back to the die roller. And we're going to roll the dice. Once or twice, a third time, and 5. Oh, we've already got a repeat because 5 was mimic. What's the next one? Once and twice and third time, is also 5. You notice that we get a lot of repeats? I mean, that's how random die rolling happens, but it seems to happen a lot on this show where we'll get the same roll over and over. But, so 5 is a lab scientist. I think we do want to use the lab scientist, but I'm going to let you guys chime in on who you want it to be. Who you want the who to be. The what is a lab scientist. And it can be something from this list, but it doesn't have to be. You want to suggest Batman? Sure. You want to suggest tea kettle? We can make a tea kettle lab scientist. Any old thing. You guys get to suggest. So I'm going to vamp and kill some time here while I give you a chance to think about it. And please type it in the comments. And I will see, hopefully, what it is. Looking at the chat so far, I'm clearly getting chat things that are typed in Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. So if you're on any of those channels, I'll see it. If you're on LinkedIn, I for sure won't. I'm streaming live to LinkedIn, and I get notification that people are watching there, and thank you very much. I appreciate that. But if you want to be part of the conversation, the LinkedIn chat doesn't play well with the system I'm using. How do I see 3 chat rooms at once? It's an interesting question. Well, I'm using a couple of different pieces of software. The main one I'm using is it's called Ecamm Live, which is a Macintosh-based video production tool, and it allows me to this is called multi-streaming when you send it to more than one platform at a time. But that eats up a lot of bandwidth if I was doing that natively out of Ecamm. Ecamm is how I have the orange how I managed to put myself on the same screen here and to create the little orange frame around it, and how I do things like pull up the ad for my free newsletter for my other show, 50 Years in the Dungeon, 50yearsinthedungeon.substack.com. I can make that go away. I can also bring out, my Instagram. You want to see me on Instagram? Instagram.com/Sanek. So all of that is with Ecamm Live. In order to send things out to the different platforms, I am using another online tool, which is called Restream.io. And again, none of this is sponsored. Feel free telling you the names of the products, because this is not sponsored and I have no affiliate deals with any of these things. They are the tools I use. And Restream is what is sending this feed from my computer out to Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and LinkedIn. I think that's it. It used to go to Twitter, X, until they made it so you had to pay to stream there. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to. It doesn't matter that much. So because I'm doing that, the software then gathers up what's written in the comment section on those sites and sends it to Ecamm. And I have one comment stream that I'm looking at right now, which has anything that's written to me in any of those places. And that's how I see them all. Also, when a mommy chat room and a daddy chat room love one another very much. No. That's a different technology. So when they come in, each comment has your user pick if you have one, and a little icon that tells me which platform you're sending from. There. That answers that question. But you guys haven't given me a who yet. So maybe I'm just going to have to pick whatever I want. Lab scientist. Lab scientist. looking here, and I'm thinking. Maybe. I'm looking. I've had my bonus board. I don't change the bonus board because we rarely use it. The bonus board really is just there for inspiration should we come use it. These are other things you could do. Maybe that tells me I should change it more often. But Cat in the Hat has been up there on the bonus board a long time. I don't know the Cat in the Hat lab scientist is. No, yeah, that'd be all right. That's what I'm gonna do. Unless you got about 30 seconds left to put something in there if you want to make a suggestion. Otherwise, I'm going with the Cat in the Hat. I'm a big time Dr. Seuss fan. Have been ever since was a very little Stan. And in fact, over here on my on the wall in my studio, I have a framed letter that when I was in first grade, we all had an assignment to write to a famous person and see if they would write back. And I wrote to Dr. Seuss, and I got a letter back from Dr. Seuss. And my mother was very good about keeping that with all of my other um, papers, all the pictures and photos and grown up stuff. And a few years ago, I asked her if she still had it, and there it was. So I came, brought it home, put it in the frame, and it's sitting over there. I get to look up at my nice letter, signed by Dr. Seuss. It reminds me of Dr. Seuss and my mom. Very nice. Okay, so we're gonna have the Cat in the Hat as a lab scientist. That's what we're doing. So let's see. First of all, Cat in the Hat has a pretty distinctive shape here. I don't know that we really need to have the whole of the Cat in the Hat. But the thing remember about the Cat in the Hat is that he liked to do dangerous things. And I think that what he's going to be doing is balancing a beaker and you know what? Eventually, we're going to need to have the goldfish right from the story in there. That's going to be up at the top. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's get him low on the page so we can do that. Up at the top, probably leaning a bit to a side, is going to be the goldfish in the bowl. So we're going to have a beaker. We're going to have a rack of test tubes. Again, you see what I'm doing here is breaking them out in basic shapes. What else? What are other lab things that we could have him doing here? What could he be using? Sorry, I'm looking up at the Cat in the Hat there above me so I can get him right. He's got a bow tie. And of course, he's going to need a lab coat because he's a lab scientist. What other lab equipment? If only my brother were here, my brother, the scientist. Why am I blanking on? All I'm thinking of is other beakers and things shaped like that. So maybe we'll have another beaker here. And we can have a mouse sitting on that. I guess I need to make that fishbowl bigger. What am I doing? Just grab it and make it bigger. This is digital. This is a digital world, Stan. There we go. That's enough. And that is our... Oh, Cat in the Hat has a tail. I do remember that. Okay. Cat in the Hat is a lab scientist. Maybe rather than... Okay, so right now I've got him standing just kind of like, woo, with his other hands out for balance. And that works, but it might be better if his other hand is holding a test tube. I like it. I like it. Okay, having done enough sketching now, it's time to go to our inking layer, our lines layer, and we're going to put this in here. So, start with something we're confident in, and I feel confident about this Cat in the Hat. Just check that I'm on the right layer. Cat in the Hat. Eyes. I like the cat's eyes. Cat has whiskers, which I hadn't remembered. I'd have forgotten that. And looking at the way old Theodore Geisel, which is Dr. Seuss's real name, for those of you who don't know, drew him, I do things with a lot of very clean lines, and he most certainly did not. A lot of scritches and scratches in old Dr. Seuss's art. Part of what makes it so lovely. I'm going to try to include maybe a little extra scritching and scratching in my Cat in the Hat here. And I am... So it's kind of... You may notice the lines thicker and thinner. That's one of the advantages of using the Apple Pencil and the iPad, is that it's pressure sensitive. And it allows me to do something that if you're drawing at home, you should be doing too. And that's don't draw with a single amount of pressure. Pressure is what I'm looking for. Vary it. When you want to draw something thinner or more delicate, use a thinner, just ease up a little. Don't just try and just use the very tip of your drawing instrument. When you want to draw something that's heavy or thick or strong, press a little harder. In this case, as I say, the Apple Pencil is pressure sensitive. So, just so you see, if I go very lightly, let's zoom in here, go very lightly, That's what a line looks like. If I press a little harder, it looks like that. If I press even harder, it looks like that. Same thing will happen if you're using a pencil, certainly a pencil, but many kinds of pen too. Even ballpoint pen, to an extent, you can get that kind of reaction. So you should practice. Uh, when I watch athletes or artists of any sort, also musicians, whatever their thing is, whatever their instrument is, whether it's a guitar or a piano or a baseball bat or a tennis racket, um, you'll notice that they can purposely do lots of different things with the same instrument, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about here with learning to use the lines, the pressure of your uh, of how you're drawing to vary your line weight. It's like it's like having two or three different ways that you can use the the pencil, your drawing implement. Go. I think also that the Cat in the Hat, rather than having clearly delineated toes, just had like a Muppet foot. It almost looked like a slipper in, at the end. Sadly, the drawing of the Cat in the Hat over here to my right uh, is not full figure. So I am really going from memory when I say that. But that's my memory of it. Okay, I'm liking how this is coming. I'm going to change this to one of those triangular beakers. The graduated beaker that has uh, measurement lines on the side. I'm doing that light drawing again. I'm letting my pressure up uh, to draw it. I want those light lines for things that are inside the beaker. So, as I say, the outside has a thicker line because I pressed harder. The inside is thinner because you're looking at it through the glass. I just realized I was sitting here trying to remember things that are in a laboratory, and one of the people who checked in earlier, though he may well not be just sitting around watching, is Carrie Andrew, my friend, who is a doctor and spent a lot of time in laboratories over the years, getting his degree and doing various other things. He could have given me a clue as to stuff I could have put in here, but no. Okay, so now I'm going to have this fluted neck beaker. I don't know what these are called actually. Again, I'll do a lighter drawing where I want the material inside to show up. And then up top, of course, as I said before, we've got the fishbowl with the fish. I don't know if you can see right now. I'm starting to make faces when I'm drawing and I want to get expressions out. I very often am making those faces myself, or some amount of them, for whatever I'm trying to do. There. Look at that. Looking alright, I'd say. Looking okay. Let's turn off the sketch layer and see what we've got. We've got the cat. Now, like I say, I want to put in some more scritchy lines, because those are the kinds of things you'd find in a Dr. Seuss drawing. Just a couple more here and there. And we can. God, I actually love how this is turning out. I hope you are too. We'll switch over to the colors layer. We'll switch over to the gloaming brush. And first things first, we'll need some red. Maybe not quite that dark a red, but the Cat in the Hat's hat, for sure, is stripy white and red. And the cat himself, although we could just leave it black and white, which is how the good doctor usually does it. I think since we do like to color things around here, I'm going to add a blue undertone, which is the color he'll most often use when he's putting color on the cat. Ooh, forgot the red also goes on the bow tie. There we go. And we're now going to add colors in that same way, that same kind of style. We're going to just add a little color here and a little color there without worrying too much about making everything just so. Little color here and a little color there. Reuse a color whenever you can. So I already did that little stick in a brown. I'll use that same brown here for the rack. I used that faux black there, so I'll use the same faux black here. So here's another trick. I've drawn this liquid so it's sloshing. You can see the underside and the top side. Make the underside darker and the top side lighter to create that illusion that they're on different planes. We're going to want to come back and add a little more blue in on the whites to make it seem more give it a little color. That's what I'm trying to say. Go, and orange, of course, is the color for a goldfish. Darker orange for inside his mouth. There we go. Looking good, looking good. So I want to come back with a very clean but very light blue. A little darker than that. On the glass, so it's not 100% see-through, and you can tell that it's not just a line, it's something that has a structure to it also. And then I'm gonna use that kind of off yellow. I don't know why I want his lab coat to seem the least pure white, but I do. And it's the same one I used for his body on his gloves. There we go. Oh, and his hat. Okay, wow, I really like how this one came out. It's been very quiet in the chat room. Everything points like you are still there, but I can't be sure of that. But I'm having fun. If no one is watching this live, then I hope that people come back and watch it in replay, because I'm really happy with how this drawing came out. I don't know that I'll ever have a use for it. I don't think that this is a oops. This is a sticker. I also think this is, like the other one, not a sticker. And of it being the cat in the hat, I can't really use it for myself professionally, but I'd like to include it in a collection of my drawings, maybe somewhere down the line, because I think this came out so much. I'm not even going to say so good, so much the way I wanted it to be. You sit here, and I do this because I'm a pretty good. Oh, I've noticed I didn't do the rat yet, or the mouse. You know, I'm a I'm at least an okay artist. I'm a good artist, right? That I'm a professional. I I do this, and that's one of the reasons why I do this show. Why I have the confidence to do this show. I do it to prove to everyone that you don't have to be good. You should just want to have fun. But even a professional artist of many years standing who's published and knows that their stuff is good enough for that, most often what you're drawing does not turn out as good as what you had pictured in your head when you started. It doesn't. You thought you were going to do something, and you're trying to get as close to that as possible in your finished piece. And most of the time, you fail by a good number of percentage points, 10% or more, off from what you originally thought. Every once in a while, you draw something, and it comes out just the way you wanted it to. It looks like the idea in your head looked before you started drawing. And that's what I love so much about this. This is what I pictured in my head. And even though we're doing this fast, doing it without a net, as it were, not worrying about backing up. First decision is good. Go, go, go. This turned out the way it pictured in my head, and that makes me happy. That makes me happy. That keeps me coming back and drawing some more. So there we have the cat in the hat as a lab scientist. And a very happy Stan. I'm going to take a pause here for a sec. And again, maybe I cursed myself earlier by saying that I could see everything you were chatting. But since then, no one's put anything in the chat. And there are other things I can look at which tell me that there are 5 or 7, it's flopping back and forth, the number of people who are watching, which means that it probably is still going out. So, hope you're enjoying this. I'm having a good time. All right. Wow, wipe my mouth. I got cowboy to wipe my mouth. And it's time to turn off round 2. Turn on round 3. Come back to that. Come back to. No, there we go. The blue color. And my inking brush. So I'm all set. Because I'm going to do another random number generation. I'm going to turn on the encounter tables, and we're going to go back to the dice and roll them one more time, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. So, come over here to the dice, and once and twice a third time, 6. 6 is adventurers, we know that. 6 on the Who is always adventurers. And once and twice and third time, 3. 6 and 3. What was 3 over here? 3. Oh, 3 is in the doghouse again. Well, foo. Could alternatively flip them and make it a 3 for the Who and make it an Orc Bartender. Anyone have any strong feelings about that? If not, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that down for a second, give you a chance to reply. Because this being the internet, there is some lag between what I say and what you hear and what you type and what I see and all that. Guess while I wait, I'm going to tell you something that happened this week. This week on my Wednesday, this week I did a recorded episode for my Wednesday night show, the 50 Years in the Dungeon show. And my guest was Peter Atkinson, who is the CEO of Gen Con Limited, the company that owns and runs the Gen Con gaming convention. And a guy I've known for quite a while. I worked for him and for Wizards when I was at Wizards of the Coast. I socialized with him a little bit before that happened, and we've known each other quite a while. So it was a fun conversation. Among other things, though, one of the things that he is heading up at Gen Con right now is the Gen Con TV program. Which is their Twitch channel. They've got lots of gaming-related shows that go on. And we were having a conversation about the possibility of me bringing Random Encounters to Gen Con TV. And there's all kinds of little businessy details, but they were very straightforward and would not result in me losing my show. It would be them doing a live show with them. In fact, I probably could continue to do both a show with them. In fact, not even probably. I could continue to do a show with them and a show live on my own channel, too. Or I could do the show live on their channel and then just put the replay up on my channel so people can come and get it. In any case, I just nothing is set. We just started having that conversation, but the conversation is being had. So it's possible that here in the middle of the second year of Random Encounters that we may suddenly move to fancier digs. Maybe not. Either way, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But that was very exciting to me because I really like this show. And I do it because I love it. But I, of course, want it to grow. And it's a good pat on my back for someone who I know and respect to like the concept enough to want to talk to me about working with him on maybe doing something similar. Yeah, nothing. Since there's no money and no contracts and nothing would ever change hands, I'm not worried about having broken it and no agreement at all. Like he could come out and say, you know what, Stan said that, and not true. He misread what I said. Maybe I did. Maybe he was just being nice. We don't know. But I'll tell you, it made me feel good. If nothing else, it made me feel good to have that conversation. So we'll see what the future holds here for Random Encounters. But I know what it holds right now. Because I'm thinking, I'm thinking that given that we've still got more people showing up, I think maybe chat is not working. Like I was bragging about how I could see everything you wrote. It's entirely possible you people have been writing and I'm not seeing it now. In which case, I apologize. But it's tech and ain't nothing I can do about the tech. So, I'm going to close out this. We're going to do a Orc Bartender is our last drawing for the evening. I'm going to clear that. Somehow I got a little single blue dot on it. It's making me I don't have particularly OCD, but sometimes I want things to be clear and clean. All right, so I think I had a bartender drawing once before here, and I also chose to have it be someone with a drink shaker. That's how you the most common way to show that someone is a bartender. And who will be here? Maybe we'll have a kobold sitting on the bar stool. We want maybe a margarita glass. What kind of? We've got to have some kind of glass here. Now I want this to look like he's shaking it, but I had a line going too far. It looks like he's swinging it like it's a club. I don't want that far. Go. It's a pretty good sketch. I think that'll do. Put straw in the drink. Let's center that on the page a little more again. So we're going to have ourselves an Orc Bartender. I did all those on lines, not sketch. So, I always say that I worry about putting the things in the right order. Well, I'm going to move this lines layer down. You can move layers in Procreate, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it down there. I'm going to take the sketch and move it up top, and that's where we're going to do our lines this time. Working digitally, very convenient. Lines I'm most confident in: the smile, the mouth. The lower part of that head. And we'll go here like that. Big ears, maybe with a earring. I don't know why. Why not? An orc can like pretty things. Now, you'll notice, or you may notice, uh, we often talk about the fact that in D&D, in Dungeons and Dragons, different editions, different monsters are drawn different ways. My orc here, definitely a third edition orc. I've talked about this on the show before, I mean, particularly when I had Todd Lockwood on as a guest. Well, I talked about this on my other show a lot also, particularly when I had Todd Lockwood on as a guest. Todd Lockwood was one of the artists uh, who did the basic design, character and world designs for 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons. Together with Sam Wood, they were the two that did the lion's share of that work. They weren't the only ones that worked on it by any stretch of the imagination. Lots of very talented artists pitched in, but they did the bulk of the work. And I really like what they came up with. There are a lot of D&D monsters that, even though that wasn't most people, most longtime D&D fans, their favorite version of anything will be the kind that they, when they first saw it, when they discovered it, that will be how it settled in their head, and what they think of as the quote-unquote real version of it. This is what a real orc looks like. This is what a real Umber Hulk looks like. And I've been playing D&D since 1979, since some of the very, not the very earliest, but some very early versions. But I'll tell you, the version of creatures that I'm most likely to think of as my version of them is the 3rd edition one. It's the stuff that Todd and Sam did. Todd and Sam and the others. It's really bad of me to kind of lay it out there like they did the whole thing, because they would be the first to say that they didn't. So, yeah, so my orcs, if I'm left to my own devices to draw the orc, it will probably look like a 3rd edition style. My version of Umber Hulks also. This has come up here on our show a lot because I like to use Umber Hulks as characters, as who's on my charts. My version of the Umber Hulk, usually a 3rd edition style Umber Hulk. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. Lots of little shaky lines. Lots and lots. Some of them small, some of them big. To show that our orc is shaking the heck out of this shaker. I'm going to have my kobold here. Just realized that I was going to want him to say something, so I'm giving him an open mouth. I'd had him just grinning. I don't know if you could tell from the sketch before, but his mouth wasn't open. But realizing that I wanted to do this, I had to change that. But since all the lines I'd drawn previously were things that I was more confident in, I don't have to change anything. There we go. Lesson comes back. And what I need to just the edge of the bar here. Again, I don't have to show it in any kind of detail, but if I put it in there, your brain is going to tell you that that must be the edge of the bar. I understand what that is. And the thing I want our little kobold to be saying is, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, I'm trying to figure out where I want the stress on this. Maybe shake it, not stir. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's turn off the sketch lines and see what we've got here. What I might have added that I didn't want to, like that little line there. What maybe needs a little more definition? Not much. I think that things are looking pretty good. I feel like there's more of a story here. Right? The orcs kind of giving him a sly, menacing grin. I feel like there could be more of a story here, but it's not clear what it is. Oh well. You can make up your story. Is he gonna. Is the orc. Is that just how he is? Is he about to poison the poor little kobold? That's a nasty thing to say. Alright, let's do some colors and then we'll wrap this up and call it an evening. So go back to my gloaming brush. I'm going to come in and say that I want the orc's hair to all be kind of faux black, which is a little bit of a problem because I pictured him wearing a tuxedo, which would also be black. But we'll deal with that in a minute. There we go. Now I'm going to go for a kind of green-gray skin for the orc. It's similar. I use this color a lot for monsters, you may notice. I used it for the Beholder the last time we did that. Didn't use it for the Ogre. Ogres I had being yellow, but there's another one recently that I used this kind of same shade for their skin. I didn't. He also, since I gave him such hairy arms, he's looking kind of like a gorilla too. I'm not sure that if I was doing this all in a way that I needed to keep or I wanted to repeat, I think I might not have the arms be so hairy. More muscular, less hairy. It'd be a big hair. In fact, yes. Think about the third edition orcs that I want to do. They've got a lot of head hair, very bushy, but although they've got body hair, it's not fur, like it's not thick fur like we've got here. Oh well. All right. So now we need the jacket. If he's not going to be wearing black, he's going to be wearing red. Just a very typical fancy uh, bartender jacket color. And then we want a blue-gray for this shaker. We want a two-tone blue-gray. Certainly want some kind of gold for his cufflinks. The cobalt is a ooh, this is a little too dark. A reptilian brown. Like so. With a darker brown for the scales running down its back and tail. Like so, maybe for the tips of his talons. And a different darker brown, be a red or darker brown, for his loincloth. And a tropical fruity pink for his drink. And there again, see a dark color for the side, light color for the top, so it has that 3D look to it. Yeah, something has definitely gone on with the chat. You people are never this quiet. I want to once again have a light mustardy color to tint the eyes a little for both of them. But by and by, I think that's it. We can once again maybe come here for a little bar shade and a much darker version for applied liberally for down here. Underneath, that's not really needed. You know what? That's not needed at all. There we go. And basically, drop the opacity so those colors aren't quite so strong. And the lines can come through a little more. But basically, there we go. That's for sure. For sure. That's an orc or maybe gorilla bartender. Kind of, I look at those arms, I'm like, yeah, I totally gorillaed him. He stopped being an orc when I did that. My bad. Oh well. But you know what? It's still a fun drawing, and that's what it's all about. So let me take a little sip, and we'll do a quick wrap-up for the show. Hope you all are having fun. I'm sorry that the chat seems to have cut out. If you've been saying interesting things, I apologize for not um, responding to them. Even if they, if you had questions, if there's anything going on. Sorry. Technology, and my bad. I'm in charge. I got to take the fall for it. There we go. Another fun evening of random encounters, of random improv cartooning. Our last prompt, the one we just wrapped up here, was an orc bartender. Before that, we had Cat in a Hat as a lab scientist. And before that, we had a mimic doghouse. That's pretty terrifying now that I come back and look at it. All right, but there we go. That's what we had on the show this week, and we had a lot of good chat for a while till apparently everything dropped out. Um, but I want to thank Becky and Michael and Linnea and Kerry and anyone else who tuned in and tried to chat with me. And those of you who tuned in and didn't bother chatting at all, that's all right. I'm glad you came. I hope you had fun. Drop me a comment. Give me a like. I don't do this often enough on this show, but really, yes. Please, before you go, I know we're about to leave, but before you go, please hit the like button or the thumbs up or the heart or whatever it is on the platform you're watching it on. It does us a lot of good in helping to get more people to come view it. A lot of people think that the video hosts asked for the thumbs up and the likes just because it boosts their ego, and there's no denying it does a little bit. That's kind of a side thing, though. The real thing it does is helps to get the show shown, get the video shown to more people. And that's what we want. So please, give me a like. If you're watching this on replay, hey, drop a comment. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you're enjoying about this show, what you'd like to see more of or less of, how any suggestions you have. Let me know. I'm totally open to all that. What else do I want to tell you? I want to tell you that you can find me on Instagram. I mentioned this earlier in the show. Instagram.com/Stanex. STANNEX. That is where you will find me, and just about everything that I draw and make publicly available, it'll show up on Instagram sooner or later. That's a good place. I don't have a portfolio site right now. I'm just using Instagram. Wherever you're watching this, you can always rewatch it. Well, no. Wherever you're watching this, you can always come to YouTube and rewatch it. I keep the archive for this show and my Wednesday show on my YouTube channel, which I don't have a fancy flyover screen for. But it's if you're not watching on YouTube right now, it's youtube.com/@TheRealStanex. That's Stanex spelled the same way as here on my Instagram. The Real Stanex. So, yeah, that's it for this week. I'll be back next week doing more improv cartooning and hopefully interacting with you for the entirety of the show. Until then, take care of yourselves. Hey, go draw something just for fun, and come back and tell me about it. Tell us about it next week. That'd be great. But mostly, take care. See ya.